Tyler was simply walking home when a police officer stopped him and said he would never be anyone. But what he didn't know was that his mother was the governor of the state. This incident set off a chain of events that would shake not just their city, but the entire system. You won't believe what happened next, but let's start from the very beginning. Tyler quickly stepped off the school bus, barely managing to thank the driver. Music blared in his ears, but one question echoed in his mind. Why does everything always have to be so hard? Another ordinary day at school was behind him, but ahead lay his neighborhood, unpredictable at every turn. No matter who you were, as a black teenager, you faced unique challenges. He hoped to make it home without trouble, but as soon as he rounded the corner, he saw a patrol car parked by the curb. A police car always felt like a bad omen. Tyler quickened his pace, but the officer's gaze was already on him. He recognized that gaze. Officer Langley, the cop who always seemed angry, especially toward black teenagers. Langley stepped out of the car, blocking Tyler's path. "Where are you going?" he asked. Tyler took a deep breath. He wasn't breaking any laws, wasn't in a dangerous area, wasn't with troublemakers. He was just heading home. "Just heading home," Tyler replied. Langley wasn't convinced. He started questioning Tyler. "What's your address? What grade are you in? How old are you?" Tyler tensed, knowing things could escalate. Then Langley said the words that made Tyler feel worthless. "Ever think about what you'll become? You're just another kid from this neighborhood. You're going to end up like the rest of them. Nobody." Tyler's heart sank. He could have answered, could have told Langley about his dreams, but it wouldn't matter. Langley cared only about his skin color, not his ambitions. Tyler handed over his ID. He didn't want to escalate things, but when his eyes met Langley's, he knew he had to stay calm. He wouldn't let this man break him. Langley scoffed, handed the ID back and said, "Go on, but life isn't as easy as you think." Tyler stood there until the car left. He took a deep breath, still feeling the coldness of the ID in his hand, a reminder of the world's unfairness. He kept walking, but now each step felt heavier. The fight wasn't just external, it was inside him too. When Tyler returned home, his mother, the state governor, was already in her office, preparing for an important meeting. Her face was always composed, confident, a symbol of unyielding strength to the public. But to Tyler, she was the woman he knew and loved. Despite her authority, she remained his mother. Tyler tried to mask his emotions, but the encounter with Langley had shaken him deeply. His feelings spilled over as soon as he stepped into the living room. "Tyler, are you okay?" she asked, her sharp eyes catching the heaviness on his face. She could always read him, even when he tried to hide his feelings. Tyler stayed silent, his gaze falling to the floor. He didn't want to worry her, but his chest was tight with the weight of humiliation. He sank into the couch, exhaling heavily, and began to recount what had happened. Everything. The humiliation, Langley's disdain, and the officer's words, "You'll never be anyone." As Tyler spoke, he felt those words eating away at him, as if they had been etched into his very being. The idea that he was worthless in the eyes of the system threatened to swallow him whole. His mother listened attentively, never interrupting. When he finished, she silently stood up, walked over to him, and placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "You have to understand, Tyler," she said, her voice steady but warm. "This isn't about you. It's about their inability to see you for who you are. You matter. You can be anything you want to be. But the world we live in will often try to convince you otherwise." Tyler looked at her, his mother's resolute presence radiating a strength that he admired. Yet the weight on his chest remained. "Mom, you're the governor. You don't have to deal with this every day. You don't know what it's like to be seen as a threat just for walking home," he said, his voice trembling, tears welling in his eyes. She sat down beside him, meeting his gaze. "I know it's hard, and I know it's unfair," she said gently. "But I've faced my own battles, and I've always told you this. You're not alone. You're stronger than you think. But you must remember, your worth doesn't depend on what others think of you. You deserve respect. You deserve to be heard. Something shifted within Tyler as he listened. His mother always knew what to say, but today her words felt different. They carried a power that seemed to push back against every shadow of doubt and fear he'd been carrying. "I can help," she continued, her tone growing firmer. "But you have to understand, every day will be a fight, Tyler. If we stay silent, if we don't act, the system wins. If you want change, you have to stand firm." She rose and walked to her desk, where stacks of papers and reports lay waiting. Picking up her phone, she dialed a number with determination. "You won't face this alone. We'll find a way to deal with this," she said, her voice now charged with resolve. Tyler felt a spark ignite within him, a flicker of hope breaking through the heaviness. He saw in his mother not just a politician, but someone who truly understood what it meant to navigate the world as a black person in a flawed system. With her support, he felt he could make a difference. Maybe he was already part of the change that was just beginning. "Mom, I'm ready," he said quietly, but with firm resolve. She turned, smiling as she nodded. "Then let's begin." The next day, Tyler came home and immediately sensed that his life had changed forever. The video of his encounter with Officer Langley had quickly gone viral on social media. Local activists were gathering petitions, and human rights organizations were rallying in support. Tyler couldn't hide from the attention, and when his mother heard about the viral video, she immediately sprang into action. She organized a press conference where she made a statement. "This incident is not an exception. It is the result of a system that is unjust. My son is not guilty of being seen as a threat." Standing beside her, Tyler felt the weight of the world on him as all eyes turned toward him. This was his moment. He took the microphone and spoke from the heart. "I shouldn't have to fear going outside. I want to be judged by my actions, not by the color of my skin." His words became a symbol of the fight for justice. Social media exploded, and protests grew in strength. Soon it was revealed that Langley had a history of violating the rights of black teenagers. The public demanded his dismissal. Tyler and his mother continued to press for an investigation, fully aware that this was not just a personal story, but the beginning of a larger movement. Officer Langley was called in for questioning, but he continued to deny any wrongdoing. The pressure from the public grew so intense that in the end, he was suspended from his duties. Tyler realized that his case had become part of something much bigger. He was ready to keep fighting, and now he knew he wasn't alone. A few weeks after the incident with Officer Langley, Tyler and his mother became central figures in the wave of change sweeping through their state. Their fight had transformed from a personal matter into a public movement for justice and police reform. Protests, rallies, and media debates intensified, all while the issue of transparency and accountability within the police force took center stage. At first, Tyler hadn't wanted to be in the spotlight, but now he actively participated in discussions. At one of the largest rallies, he addressed thousands of people. His words were powerful. "I don't want any person, any teenager, to ever feel like they don't belong in their own country. We deserve respect and safety." Those words became front-page news. Social media was flooded with support. People shared their stories of injustice, inspired by Tyler's example. Under the pressure of public opinion, Langley was officially fired in disgrace, and his past actions were subjected to an investigation. Tyler's mother also increased her involvement. As governor, she introduced a police reform bill, which included mandatory body cameras for officers, tolerance training, and the creation of an independent committee to review complaints against police staff. This was her response to a system that had so often ignored the needs of her community. At the story's conclusion, Tyler and his mother held a press conference, where she announced, "This journey has been difficult, but it has shown us that change is possible if we do not remain silent." For Tyler, this was a moment of pride. He knew this experience had changed him forever. From a scared teenager, he had transformed into a young leader whose words inspired others. That evening, sitting on the porch with his mother, Tyler said, "Mom, thank you for always believing in me. We did this together. She smiled and replied, "This is just the beginning, Tyler. The most important thing is that you always remember who you are and why you're fighting." The story ended not only with Tyler's victory, but also with the start of a new chapter in the fight for equality and justice, one that inspired many across the country.